And I'm Tuffy Stone, and this is my bone-in ribeye with coffee rub and homemade steak sauce. All right, so I got this beautiful Chairman's Reserve bone-in ribeye. This recipe is all about the steak. And I am gonna use my newest addition to my Tuffy Stone barbecue provisions. It's my new coffee rub. It's really savory. It's got this umami thing going on. It's called Daily Grind. I'm gonna do 3 2-inch bone-in ribeyes, a thin coat of olive oil, put a moderate to heavy coat of the coffee rub on. All right, so you can see I put a generous coat of my Daily Grind coffee rub on there. I'm gonna let these steaks sit out ambient temperature for about 20 to 30 minutes. I want them to start to warm up a little bit, and most importantly, these steaks are so thick that that I want to get some of that rub flavor to penetrate the meat a little bit. Anybody that knows me knows how much I love to cook barbecue, but they know how much I love to eat a steak. We got a lot of meat here. They're gonna take a little bit longer to cook. I've got my grill set up, which I'll show you in a minute, to where it's 2-zone. I got a hot side and a cool side. It's gonna take a long time to get the meat to the doneness that we're looking for. All right, so I've got my grill set up 2-zone. I've got hot coals over here, no coals here. I'm using briquette charcoal. Because these steaks are so thick, I want to have 2 zones. I want to be able to cook them directly over the coals, get a nice char, move them over to the cool side, let them continue to cook to doneness without burning the meat. I've flipped these steaks once already. I'm gonna check them again. I'll probably turn them for a second time. And I like to spritz and spray. I talk about it all the time, but with big, thick steaks like this, just a spritz of apple juice occasionally during the grilling process, I really like. Once these steaks have the char on them that I'm looking for, I'm gonna move them over to the cool side. I'm trying to be careful. You know, I've got all these ingredients in my rub, and I do not want to burn that rub. So what I've done is I've got a nice char on here. Because these steaks are so thick, I got a good char on one side. I'm gonna move them over to the cool side of the grill now, close the lid, and I am going to put my exhaust over the cool side. There's no coals over here. So I am pulling the heat this way. They're not directly over the fire anymore, so I don't really have to worry about burning these steaks up. Now I'm just gonna cook them until I get to the desired doneness that I'm looking for. So for me, I'm gonna take these big, thick ribeyes to about 128 degrees. I'm gonna pull them off. While they rest, they'll be doing what's called carryover cooking, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. So these beautiful Chairman's Reserve, big honking bone-in ribeye steaks, seasoned with my coffee rub. They're smelling so good. Anyways, we're resting them right now. Resting meats is really important. So I like to teach things in very simple ways that are easy to follow, because that way I can remember. The bigger the cut, the longer the rest. The shorter or the smaller the cut, the shorter the rest. It's like a simple bell graph. When we take a brisket, for example, and it rests, the quality goes up for a bit, and then it starts to top out and it comes back down. So we want to catch all of the meats that we cook where it's at its best. So my briskets, I can rest for 2 to 3 hours. Some of your legendary places in Texas will rest them and hold them hot for even longer than that. That's where a little bit of that beauty comes from. But with these steaks, they're thick. I've rested them for about 10 minutes. It's time to cut into one now and see how we did. But anyways, they smell good, they feel good. Let's see how we did. So to finish this dish, I'm just gonna put a little extra added sprinkle of my coffee rub and drizzle a little bit of my homemade steak sauce on there. If you wanna make mine, it's in my cookbook, or if you wanna make your own or buy one, that's perfectly fine. I'm Tuffy Stone, and this is my bone-in ribeye.
I gotta go, and this I go. I'm dying a legend, that's just so you know. Yeah, I'ma go get it. We just keep pushing the limit. I am like all the way with it, all the way living. Y'all are just bearing the witness. You can keep staring out windows and watch how I do it. They trying, they taking their pictures. Yeah, homie, that's all the way real. Work, but I feel like a meal. This is the deal. Dollars ain't